Okay. Can you all hear me? Hands up at the back. Can you hear me? Hands up at the back. Yeah. Hands up at the back. Can you hear me? I don't mean a Mexican wave, like just one hand will do. Okay, good. Hello, welcome to Economics for Business. This is the second year Economics for Business module. If there's anyone who's in the wrong room, please feel free to leave now. It's okay. I've been doing this for a long time, and there's always one person who, at the end, who kind of sneaks out and goes, actually, I thought this was physics or physical education or whatever. It's cool. You can just go. Nobody will think any less of you, and because we'll never see you again, basically. So just go if this isn't where you're supposed to be. If it is where you're supposed to be, please take a seat quickly. It's a large lecture, and we have a lot to do today. There are course outlines speeding their way around the room for you, so please take a look at the course outlines, and we'll obviously go through them in this lecture, which is the first lecture in this series of 23, I think. So, hello. How's it going? As I said, my name is Stephen Kinsella, and I'm lecturing economics in the economics department, happily enough. And my job here is to teach you this subject. Okay? So, this is the third module of economics that most of you will have done. Most of you, if you're not an Erasmus student, hands up if we have Erasmus students, and you're always in the front. Hands up. You are. I love it. Stay there. It's great. It's awesome. Stay there. It's brilliant. So we have some Erasmus students here. Do we have any Socrates or other exchange type students? At the back too. Okay, good. Most of you, if you're standard kind of BBS students or BA Law and Accounting, Public Admin, those type of students, this is the second or third course of economics you will have taken. You will have done first year microeconomics with Dr. Lenihan. You will have done first year macroeconomics with Dr. Palcic. And so this course effectively presumes that you have at least seen some of these words. I'm not going to assume that you know the entire textbook, the Mankiw and Taylor textbook that you will have used last year, and I'm not assuming or presuming that you will have done any of that to distinction. However, I do want to make sure that this module builds on and deepens the first year micro and macro that you learned. For many of you as well, this will be the last economics module that you take, really, because at the end of this semester, you have to choose your specialization. So do you want to major in economics and finance? Do you want to major in anything else? This is really important, okay? So I'm going to do my level best to keep the economics stuff that I'm going to teach you very interesting, and it's obviously very, very topical. But again, the focus is on the theory. Okay, again, the focus is primarily on the theory. So you have to extend your knowledge. Extend it and deepen it. It's not okay to go beyond the first year module. It's not okay to just sit there and go, yeah, okay? You have to build on. This is students some familiarity with the lecture. Okay. I'm also going to show you some alternatives. Okay, I'm not going to just show you supply and demand. Economics is a conversation. I'm not just going to show you supply and demand and a few little macro models and stuff like that. I'm going to show you some of the stuff where the mainstream, which has failed largely to explain the crisis, where the mainstream has abandoned, if you like, reality. That's quite important. We're going to look at case studies. Well, when I say we, I mean you. You're going to look at case studies, rather exclusively, actually. You're going to look at a lot of them. You're going to do a lot of reading. And we have pretty highly interactive lectures and tutorials. One thing I learned about studying in America is you can't stop American students from talking. One thing I learned about working in Ireland is you can't get Irish people to talk. However, one thing I have noticed over the years is that Irish students love texting in lectures. So feel free to send me a text, and I will quite happily Okay? And I will quite happily, oh! I love you too. I'll quite happily engage with you. No problem. More than happy to, oh! Thank you. David Nagler. That's it, it's over. Now there are some rules about this, okay? If the basic rule is don't send anything that's liable to offend anyone else. So if you're in the mood of going, oh, you know, if you're in the mood of belittling someone's sexuality or anything like that, if you're the type of person that finds that stuff funny, I can't stop you. But I'm not having it up on the screen. So if stuff like that appears, I'm just going to shut the text message thing off. Okay? I want this to be a conversation. I want it to be interactive. I want there to be fun and banter and stuff like that. But if you cross the line, I'm just going to turn it off. Okay? I'm asking for a mature adult response to this stuff. I know some of you are going, me? No, but seriously, please use this properly. And also, please understand that when you send me that text message, I have your number now. I love you too. After every other fight, you know. Is this the guy with the text message? You know, yeah. If you get a drunken conversation from me at 2 a.m. or something. Oh, yeah. Right. So please always feel free to send the texts. They show up on my screen before they show up on yours. So anything that's absolutely bonkers won't make it across. But I will be using it to do games with you, to do interactive experiments, and we'll also have the crack as well. For the foreign students, crack is fun, not the drug. Just to make that clear. Yeah, we don't do hard Class A drugs in this lecture anymore. Okay, so economics is an event-driven ideological conversation. Okay, it's event-driven. Right now, what are we talking about? We're not talking about how Ireland got rich. We're not talking about how people spent their days in the 1920s. We're talking about how are we going to create the conditions in which most of you are going to get a job. Okay? You will also be aware, and I think this is also important, this is the start of your second year. Hands up here who thinks they know what a QCA is. Okay? So, a QCA is a grade point average it's a weighted average of all of your marks all the way through from second year to fourth year. This means if you go on the absolute lash and drink pints of martini and eat packets of cheese and onion crisps for the next 12 weeks, and you fail this module, and you're capped at a C3 for the summer, that is harming the final grade that you get for your degree. Okay? I can see the faces going, really? Yes, really, really seriously. This module and all the ones that you're doing from now on count towards your final degree. Okay? If that doesn't have you go, you know, then it should. It really should. Okay? So your degrees effectively are little pieces of paper that tell the world you're a winner. They tell the world I'm not stupid. They differentiate you from many other types of worker. Right now, if you left this college right now and you took a job, your wage would probably be somewhere between €8 and €11 an hour. The idea of you getting a degree, a master's, maybe even a PhD, is to increase your wage. It's also quite nice to spend 4 years hanging out with your friends and learning new things. Actually, it's a great way to spend your early 20s. However, it is important that you understand that what you're doing is increasing the probability that you're going to be able to make a high wage claim in the labor market. Okay? And so for that reason, you did well picking well, because we have the highest graduate employment rate in the country. So that's happy days. Will that still be true in 2.5 years' time? We'll see. It's kind of up to you, isn't it? So I want you to understand that I take this very seriously. My job is to prepare you for that. And I take this very seriously. And you should too. And I really, really want you to. I really want you to take this module seriously. And if you don't take it seriously, I'm going to hammer you. I'm going to absolutely hammer you, and you're going to see why in a little while when we talk about the assessment mechanism. But first, economics is ideologically driven. It's driven by the ideas of the people who wrote the big books. That means, very importantly, that if they believe that all workers are more or less alike, and the wages of these workers should adjust up and down as economic conditions get better and worse, then unions are a waste of time. In fact, unions are something that's harmful to the economy. Yeah, and you can see this playing out in the you can see this playing out in the debate in the national newspapers that talk about public sector pay. Is it the case that unions who stops the downward movement of public sector pay, do they help the economy or do they hinder it? It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. The important thing is that the people who make these decisions on whether to cut my pay or increase it believe these theories. They believe them because I have people like me taught it to them 40 years ago. Okay? However, economics is not a science, and no one should ever think it is. It's not the case that you're learning like physics or chemistry. You're learning a conversation, and you're basically coming in on the conversation. Okay? You have to learn the language first. Now, I assume you more or less have the language. You should know what GDP is. You might know all its components and stuff. In fact, I'm going to make you recite them later anyway, like a church choir. But you should know what it is. Okay? You're going to see a lot of stuff about stocks and flows and balance sheets. So your accounting training will really help you. We're going to talk a lot about economic history. You're going to see a lot of examples of economic history, because that's where it comes. And I'm going to force you to read one great book. One great book in the course. And I'm going to force you to write about it. I'm going to force you to write a lot. Writing is structured thinking. Your job should be to write and write and write. And so, in fact, you will. Okay. Oh, I've got another little thing. Oh, man. This is cool. This is awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Keep the praise coming. Yes, the ego is like this at this stage. Okay. So, that's what I want you to learn. How are you going to do the learning? Interactive lectures. I teach, I speak, you speak. We converse. Okay? It's many to one to many. Okay? You can tweet me as well if you want, but I'll need to get the phone for that. We're going to talk about case studies in a minute, but every single one of your tutorials will be based around a case study. These case studies are very interesting, very, very topical, and very, very historically relevant. You have to answer the questions at the bottom of those case studies every week. You have to upload those answers to turnitin.com if you want to grade this module. Okay? The best way you can do that is go to the tutorials. The tutorials will teach you how to answer these questions properly. There's no, you don't have to sign up to the tutorials anymore. And if you have tutorials, just as I think of it, if you are one of the people who are scheduled for the tutorial on Friday, there's only one tutorial on a Friday. And I just feel really cruel making those people go there. So we're going to reassign you to other tutorials, which will be a bit better. So you're going to write a book review. You're going to write a book review. I'll tell you all about how to reassign yourself to the tutorials in a minute. You're going to write a book review of one book, and you're going to study your arse off for this exam, because you have a huge amount of reading to do. Yeah. So, okay. More questions. Good, good. Hey, man. Hey, man. I don't know why I've given him this accent, like, hey, man. Probably doesn't deserve it. Okay. You look swell in that outfit. I dressed up for you. I dressed up for you. This is normally I dress up for the first 2 weeks, and then you started. I normally don't dress like this. Actually, to be honest, I didn't dress this for you at all. I think of it. I had another meeting this morning, but I had you in the background. Right. Here's your assessment. Here's how you're going to be assessed. Here's how you get that A1. That's going to tell you to economic starter. 25% written answers to questions in tutorials based on the case studies. You already have the case studies. They're already available online. The website is stephenkinsella.net. Just click on Economics for Business. All the case studies are sitting there. Every week you've got a choice of 2. Pick one. You don't have to do 2. Just pick one. Okay? 25% of your mark goes for a book review. This book review It's a 5 or 6 page book review of one of these books. Nassim Taleb's Food by Randomness, John Gray's False Law, or E.M. Schumacher's Small is Beautiful. Food by Randomness gives you the behavioral understanding of what happens in a crisis. If you understand food by randomness, you will never buy an overpriced house again. I will have saved you hundreds of thousands of euros, and you will thank me. Actually, you won't. Next year, you won't even remember my name. But you will be thankful, nonetheless. False Dawn, John Gray's A Philosopher, this is the 1997 book, and this 1997 book predicted to the letter what would happen with the financial crisis. E.F. Schumacher's Small is Beautiful is a piece of Buddhist economics. His idea, and he had the idea in the 1970s, was that people should not try for big, kind of ostentatious homes and all that stuff. They should be just content with what they've got. It's a different way to understand the economy, and it's beautifully written. So we pick one of those three. All the books are now available in the library or in the bookshop. I would highly recommend you buy your own copy because I want you to read it in. Final exams at the end of the semester. It will be a multiple choice exam. It's worth 50% of your mark. I will give you a sample exam in week 10, but you can also have a look at all the stuff for last year's module. The sample exam for that module is up there as well. Okay? Repeats. I've been told that I must give you details of your repeat within the first hour of the lecture, otherwise I can be sued and shot out of town or something. So, you will carry the continuous assessment with you into the repeats. Okay? So that means if you go on the bar and drink pints of martini and eat packets of for the 12 weeks, and you get 3% in your case studies, guess what? That 3% is coming with you. So your end of term exam, your summer exam will be 50%, not 100%. Okay? That is just so you take this seriously. I have 3 teaching assistants this year. There are well over 300 of you. If you submit all 7 case studies, if you submit your book review, if you do your exam, then there's 9 gradable pieces of information for each student. That's well over 2,700 individual grade items in this class. That's how seriously I take this class. We are grading well over 2,500 items in one 12-week period, just to make sure that you do your job. Okay? And as a result, we will do ours. So, there's no textbook for this module. There are a couple of recommended texts. There's no textbook because all the textbooks are wrong. All the stuff that you've read, all the textbooks were mostly written in the 90s when everything was grand. So they're all wrong. So if you still have your book Economics by Mankiw and Taylor, just use that. Just refer back to it. I have my own book called Quick Win Economics. It's kind of economics, not economics for dummies, but it's an easier way to understand economics. Buy 12 or 13 copies each. You like. And myself and Tony Levin wrote a book called Understanding Ireland's Economic Crisis. You may find that useful when doing the book review, and there's loads of copies of it in the library. You don't necessarily have to buy that one. So those are the kind of key readings. The case studies are all online now. There's a lot of data that's available there too. Now, importantly, the focus is on Europe and the world economy, not just Ireland. There's a whole module called Ireland and the world economy in 4th year. Okay? So, some boring admin stuff. Yeah, there's the course page. It's my website, BC4004-2012. But if you just go to the website, the first thing it says is hello to your students. Just click on that. Everything's up there. Plagiarism. At the end of every week, you have to submit case studies to me, starting in week 3 or 4. Your tutorials start in week 3, so the case studies start in week 4. You have to submit those through a website called Turnitin.com. Turnitin.com is a plagiarism checker. Hands up here who doesn't know what plagiarism is. Okay, very wise. Plagiarism is taking another person's words as your own. Turnitin.com checks for that, but it also allows us to grade your stuff online, so we don't have any paper. Don't plagiarize. Plagiarizing, basically, if you're copying and pasting text from a website or whatever into your book review, I'll find out and I'll get you. And here's what it means when I'll get you. It means I call you into my office, and I did this with 37 students last year. I call you into my office, I show up with witness, because it's an important appeals-based procedure. I ask you, do you understand why you're here? You say, to get a prize? And I go, no, not every prize. You are here to answer the charge of plagiarism. How do you plead? You go, huh? You go, no. And I'll show you the turn-in report. If the turn-in report is over 40%, it means almost half of your stuff has been plagiarized. I'll show you the websites that they came from, and I'll ask you, do you understand what plagiarism is? And that's the moment where most people go, I didn't really go for that lecture. I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was under any pressure. My cat's sick. And then some big men start crying. Genuinely, I'm not getting confused. It was pretty unpleasant. And then I send you off to the disciplinary committee. And the disciplinary committee of the university is 3 people, and they're less charitable than me. Okay? And what they'll do is, the nicest thing that will happen to you is that you'll repeat this module. There are people in this lecture hall now who are repeating this module because of the plagiarism that they did in the previous year. That's the nicest thing that's going to happen to you. You might, depending if it's like 99% plagiarized, if you just robbed somebody else's, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend that you repeat the entire year. And people are like, is he serious? He's absolutely, totally fucking serious. That's how serious I am. I'm serious as a curse about it. Okay? Now just don't do it. Just don't do it, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I need you to understand how serious this is at the start. So that when I come back in week 7 and I'm individually giving you feedback, you don't go, but I didn't hear, I didn't know. No. And if you're not here, this lecture is being recorded. You can download the lectures if you don't make it to the lectures from the website after every lecture. Please do us a favor, email that email, ec4004 support@ul.ie if you've got any questions related to the module. That email goes to a couple of us so we're able to check it. If you want to ask me anything, if you ever want to talk about economics, if you just want to, don't really come by for a chat. I don't really care about your issues with your boyfriend or whatever. I don't know, should I spend some more time with this? I don't care about that. If you want to talk about economics, like what's happening in Harvard or whatever, I'm more than happy to talk about that, and I'd really like it actually. So please come by. My office hours are 9 to 11. I'm in KB342, which is on the 3rd floor of this building. 9 to 11, or I think on Thursdays too. I'm pretty rigid about that. I don't have a lot of volunteer time. We have 3 teaching assistants here for you guys. Paul Smith, Gerald Nolan, and Brian Cowell. All their details are available on the web. Oh yeah, for those people who are scheduled on the Friday tutorial, I think there's only one. Please email gerald.o'nolan@ul.ie, gerald.o'nolan@ul.ie, and he'll reassign you to your other tutorials. I just feel like Friday from 4 to 5 is a little bit cruel, when everybody else gets a nice one. If there are flexible learning students in this lecture, would you please come down and see me afterwards? Some of our distance students might be here. If you're here, please come down and see me afterwards. I'd love to meet and talk with you. And if not, no problem. The person you'll be contacting and talking with is Paul Smith. Now, can you check how much plagiarism is in your work before submitting it? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's the whole point. You submit the stuff to turnitin.com, and then you can check it. The details on how to log in to turnitin.com are in the back of your course handout. Just there. Okay? Very good question. Thank you very much. Do you have more handouts? Hands up. Somebody has a pile of handouts. Who needs handouts? Put your hands up. Way up, way up, way up. Who has handouts? Please. Who also has handouts? Oh my God. Bring them down there, will you? There's some people over there. Okay. Anybody still bereft of handouts? Handout less. No? Okay, cool. Do you have more handouts? Great question. Right. Now, questions? More questions on this stuff, please. I'd be more than happy to answer them. This is the important bit this is the important bit of the lecture where important information gets transmitted.
Do we have to create an account?
You do? Yeah. If you haven't done it already, you have to create an account on turnitin.com. All the details, including screenshots, are in the back here. All there, okay? So you should all You're pretty too, but I'm not that type of girl. Right. Now, next one. Okay. Let's go home and have a really long shower. Okay. I hope so, in a way, but actually, I hope you stop watching me when I leave this lecture hall, because that would be good. You know? All right. Here are the themes we're going to explore in the module. Okay, households. We're going to look at the descriptions of the microeconomy. So would everybody please turn to page 2, the lecture by lecture breakdown. We have no lecture on October the 29th. It's a bank holiday. The lecture by lecture breakdowns. So the next lecture is on Thursday, I think. When's the lecture? Thursday, 12 to 1 in this room. Okay? We're going to look at microeconomics, but a much more detailed description of the microeconomic actors. You're going to see a little bit of calculus, a little bit of maths. We're going to show you something called constrained optimization. You're going to see different stories about how consumers behave. You're going to see stories about how producers behave as well. We're going to look at banks and central banks and also the government. We're going to look at measuring the economy, particularly using stocks and flows, which is something I'm very, very interested in. Tutorials begin in week 3. You can either choose the demand and supply or the what we, instead of why, the we concept case study. Week 4, the Wörgl, experiment. Is there anybody from Germany? Germany? Austria? Wörgl? How do I say Wörgl? Wörgl. Hey, week 4. It's Wörgl, huh? Wörgl. Say it like a joke. Wörgl.
Is that German?
Is that German? Okay. Anyway. Right. Okay. You look at open economy. Ireland is a small open economy, very important, extremely important to have a look at that. Your book reviews are due in week 6. At the same time, by the way, you have a case study due. We're looking at Argentina's debt and default, housing markets. You'll get feedback in week 8, so we won't be doing tutorials in week 8. You'll be getting lots and lots of feedback on your book reviews. I don't believe that you should just show up, lash it in, get a mark. I want you to learn from it. That's why we're giving you weekly feedback on turnitin.com. You can go in and check what your mark is. Okay? So basically, when it comes to these tutorials, when it comes to these case studies, I want you to submit at least 5. Okay? You can submit it to a maximum of 7 if you want to. Right? People are like, no. If you really want to, you can submit 7. We'll take your best marks. So if you happen to just have a really, really off week or something, you know, just submit 6 or whatever. We're going to try our level best to mark you in ranges. So, I mean, if you make a lackluster attempt, and I saw some really, really bad attempts last year, we're just going to give you 0. There's a culture in UL, I don't know what it is or why it is. There's a culture in UL that sort of, if I throw in anything at all, I get 35%. No, not at all. We get 0. Decent attempt and make some effort to contribute to discussions and tutorials. We'll give you 5, maybe a bit more. And if you really, really submit an excellent response that has the TA going, oh wow, that's really good. Then you get, okay, you can get 7 marks and 6 marks and all that sort of stuff. Well, but that's just an idea. This happened a lot last year. People just wrote stuff out. Don't write stuff out. Don't submit the stuff in hard copy. It caused a huge problem last year. What happened was people were showing up to one tutorial for the first couple of weeks that they were actually mandated to go to, putting in their tutorials, and then they just decided, without telling anybody, I'm moving. And then they kept submitting those tutorials to somebody else. So there was a mismatch in marks, and some people didn't get their grades on time. Okay? That's why we're not letting you submit stuff on paper, handwritten. You type it up. There are lots and lots of resources for submitting case studies, and also for submitting your book review up online already. So you should be able to. Dude, use Solus, bro. No, dude. Dude, Solus is like way weak. Way weak. I don't even know. I'm trying to be hip. I'm with it and with the kids. Yo, no. No. Do you use Solus? I don't. That's because Solus is crap. What I use is this. I use this technology is called the internet. And what I do with it is I use a blog, B-L-O-G. And what happens in a blog is I put stuff up and you can just download it. So there you see, there are all your case studies. Oh no. Here are your case studies. There's the website. Just literally it's myname.net. There's the module outline that you're reading now. Case studies, email policy. Here's our plagiarism guide. If if you missed that lecture on communications for some reason and you don't know what plagiarism is, if you're sitting there going, I'm not really sure, just read this guide. It'll just solve all the problems. I won't have to spend 3 days interviewing stressed out undergraduates. It'll just be great. Book review examples. You can download some A1 book reviews there. Have a look at them. See what made them successful. Here are the lecture notes for lecture 1. You can expect that the lecture notes will normally be available before the lecture. Okay? The lecture notes that you've got now, they'll be available before the lecture. Just the PowerPoint slides and stuff. Righto. So we're going to look at saving income and distribution. Ireland is absolutely fascinating to use as a case study because we've had this enormous crisis. We look at inequality in employment, finance, and the macroeconomy, and different policies. Okay? Here is why I'm teaching you this way. This is how I want you to learn this stuff. The pedagogical idea is that the economy is composed of sectoral actors. So you've got people who are producing stuff in firms, people who are consuming stuff, the households. You've got the government in the middle trying to mediate between these people, and you've got a series of problems that they're all trying to solve together or against one another. There's a lot of measurement, and there are different theories, and these theories are politically motivated. You should understand that. They're politically motivated theories. If you believe that workers should just work harder and harder and harder, then the story that you believe is a neoclassical story. That you believe in labor productivity, which means more hours worked for the same pay. Yeah? If you believe in a demand-led story, you believe in more wages for workers, actually, which increases their disposable income, which allows them to buy more stuff in shops, which reduces unemployment. Depending on what side of the fence, if you're right or left, if you're a conservative or a liberal, you'll subscribe to a different series of models. Every model is alike in that it is just someone's opinion about the world. What is not the same is data. So you may believe that the biggest problem that Europe faces right now is inflation. The worry that the real value of your purchasing is going to go down over time. You may believe that. And if you believe that, then you would think that the interest rate, which is the price of holding money in low-level funds, would be going up. But the data is saying, no, it's not going up. It's going straight. So your belief is wrong. It's a bit like staring up at the sky today and going, God, we've got a lovely blue sky. You don't. Your belief just happens to be wrong. Okay? So that's why you need measurement. Theory and measurement interact. And there are various descriptions. We'll call them things like Keynesian, neoclassical, and all this. There are various descriptions. We move to the macroeconomics. We'll talk about macro descriptions, but we'll also talk about pathologies. A pathology is something going wrong. You know, when you have a disease, there's a pathology to it. There's a pathology in Ireland right now. What's the biggest problem in the Irish economy right now? Somebody send me a text or a tweet or something. Text away. What's the biggest problem in the Irish economy right now? What is it? Tell me. No money. Good? Good. You can share it as well if you want. You don't want to spend the. I have no idea how much that costs, but you could share it too. Yes? Our exports are way bigger than our imports. Yes, they equal that. Very good. So our exports could be equal to our imports. That's not good if you're a small open economy. The reason it's not good is because you want more money to be coming in. And if your net export's balanced, that's a bad thing. What kind of stuff can we export, do you know? We export crack. We export farmers. Could we all please try to export that guy? That would be awesome. Okay. Yeah, that would be great. He's not a great export, though, I have to say. Hey, man. I love this margin. Okay, good for you. Right. Okay, what? Hey, man. Consumer confidence. Oh, okay, great answer. So the problem is, I have no confidence. I have no confidence. I'm not confident about buying stuff in the economy. This is a totally valid story. If you believe that the problem in the world in Ireland is lack of confidence, because people have money in the bank and they don't want to spend it. So I want to buy a house, but I think the price is going to keep going down. So I have no confidence that the price is going to stay stable. So what do? I keep my money in the bank. What does that do to the price? Keeps going down, fulfilling my expectations. So my consumer confidence isn't that high. So what should you do? What should you do to help consumer confidence? What would you do to help consumer confidence? Like throw a party? Sit-ups? Come on, what would you do?
So how can we do anything if the government is everything?
How can we do everything? Okay, so the government doesn't do everything. We can do things on our own, but let's assume we're the government. Even better. How can the government affect consumer spending? Tax cuts. Pardon? Tax cuts? Yeah, very good question. A very good answer. So, Steve Harper said, tax cuts. We can cut taxes. If we cut taxes, that makes the price of the house or the price of the object cheaper. And that can definitely affect consumer confidence. Absolutely correct. What's the problem with cutting taxes right now? What's the problem with cutting taxes? Tax or shout? What are the other?
The government wants to get more money.
The problem is the government has no money. So if you reduce taxes right now, you increase the difference between government spending and taxes, don't you? If you increase that difference, you increase our borrowing. If you increase our borrowing, who's going to lend to us? So you might help the consumers, but you'll hurt the perception of Ireland abroad. Okay? That might be worth it. It might be worth it. But it might not. Might not. So, what else could you do? So that's a great answer. Really cool. What else could you do? Click. Click. Can't get the turf home. Do you want a lift, like? You can't get the turf home. Can't use an apostrophe. Okay, you can't get a turf home. So why can't you get the turf home? Actually, no, let's not think of it. Why can't you get the turf home? What's wrong with cutting turf out? There's no incentive to bring home turf. Yeah? There's no incentive. Why is there no incentive? Because the price is too low. Why is the price too low? How could you stimulate demand? You could cut taxes, or you could give people money. Yeah? You can give people money, you go, hey, listen, how would you like another 100 euros? A week?
But if you give money, won't there be deflation?
Well, right now there's almost a deflation. So inflation is only a worry if you're quite close to full employment. We have 15% unemployment, so inflation is not our worry right now. So you can give people money. Could you? They did this, by the way. I'm not talking theoretically. They did this in Taiwan. In Taiwan, what they did was they just handed. Oh, very good, government investment. In Taiwan, they realized that they were in trouble, and they just handed everybody the equivalent of 150 euros. Yeah, and that just got the economy back working. Government investment. So government investment in what? Watches? Capital projects. What's a capital project? Come on, students. Time is wasting. I just show to be quiet. Come on. Come on. What? Schools. We don't have schools. Children need schools. Buses. Hospitals. Great idea. What does that do? What does that do? It reduces the number of construction workers that are unemployed. It creates demand in the local economy because the construction workers are all offline roads and traffic lights and all that stuff. Happy days, reading magazines, whatever. And that helps the shops, and the shops hire more people, and so the unemployment rate goes down. And the people get a hospital, which everybody needs. Why do we do that? We have no money. If we're constrained, if we can't borrow more money to do this, then we're in trouble. We're also in trouble because the return on investment for a capital project is not as high as the price of borrowing. Yeah? So that's important. Some people I know, I've spoken to because I'm part of a group that tries to help people in mortgage distress. This morning I was talking to somebody who got themselves into all trouble because they couldn't pay their mortgage, so they put the mortgage on their credit card. So the mortgage interest rate is like 4%, and the credit card interest rate is 20%. Yeah? So effectively they're increasing the price of their borrowing. Yeah? That's what you will be doing in this case. You're borrowing at 6%, and your return on investment is 2%. Yeah? And that's 2 in the long run. So, government investment. Is government investment the answer? Maybe, but it has effects on other things. Lie. We're grand. Actually, as I'm going to show you in the next lecture, we do. There's an important economic statistic. It's called gross national product. Who's heard of gross national product? Hands up. One more time. Who's heard of gross national product? Good. By the way, just out of interest, this is going to be important for the next lecture. Hands up here. If you're a girl, hands up here who has a boyfriend or a partner or whatever. What? Hands up. Not like. We're always this. Like that. You need to count. Yeah, husbands count. Husbands count. Maybe that's your okay. And then over here, hands up. Okay. Hands up here who doesn't. If you're a girl, hands up here who doesn't have a boyfriend or a partner or whatever. So there was like 20 there. Everybody else is just like, I'm not trying to belittle you. This is something I need to know. This is part of the thing on Thursday. Hands up. Okay. Great. That's good. So roughly speaking, we've got about 20% boyfriends, 80% no boyfriends. Guys, hands up who has a girlfriend, whatever, other person. Yeah. Okay, hands up. Well, that's up. Good. Nobody. Who has no? Who's alone though? Who's no? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. That's going to become important later. We're going to do something called a beauty contest. That's it. We'll record later. Not an actual beauty contest. Don't get forget. Okay. About 80-20 on both sides. There has to be at least somebody there going, and it was at that moment that I realized that I really love Brad. You know? Some Sex and the City type monologue going on. All right. Now, just as an aside. Okay. Excellent. Lack of entrepreneurial activity. We're just picky. We're just lazy. We don't know how to set up a business. That's easy enough to fix. How should we fix that? Marketing. Tell people how to set up business. They have a whole government department for that. It's called Enterprise Ireland. Their whole job is to help you get set up. Why are entrepreneurs awesome? They create something out of nothing. That's what. They create jobs and they're not the government. That's why entrepreneurs are brilliant. And we have some really good examples. Will you be my boyfriend? Sorry again, I'm watching you. Okay. Do you have more handouts, you're pretty? Okay. Can you check out? Okay, well, these are all old ones. All right, good. So 80-20. Okay, good. So there's this question. There's this question actually that a student sent me an email about last year. Not this year, last year. She asked me, is economics still relevant? Why should we bother studying this crap? Didn't you guys get it incredibly wrong? Weren't you economists on the television in 2007 telling people, should have studied a soft landing class, it'll be grand, don't worry about it, buy more houses, it'll be fine. That was economists. We did that. Yeah? We were cheerleaders for the boom. Absolutely. How much confidence would you have in the medical profession if the teaching faculty in medical school had very little experience actually treating patients and very little connection to or even respect for practitioners in the field? It's a serious problem in economics. The truth about it is most university lecturers have no outside real-world experience. I'm one of those guys. James Hamilton, another famous economist, he said, well, the credibility revolution in econometrics is sorting out the problem. He said, no, things aren't so bad. We're getting a bit better. We messed up, yeah, but there's time. There's time. Second one, Dean Baker said the bad economists should be fired. Bad economists should be fired. That would discipline us. What if we had malpractice insurance? Yeah? So if you said the economy's great and it wasn't, you got sued. Yeah? That's a big problem. There's zero accountability for bad performance. Actually, I think that's a persistent feature of the Irish economy. I don't think it has anything to do with economists in general. I think it's actually just about Ireland. We don't have very good accountability structures. Holding economists accountable is a good thing. It is a good thing. So, is it relevant? Is it relevant? Sorry, I just, good answer, good answer. Government debt. We could just borrow more money. That's not a bad idea. But the fundamental thing about debt is that there is no problem with debt as long as somebody is willing to lend you more. So you can be up to your neck in debt as long as somebody's willing to give you more, it's all good. The moment it isn't and you have to repay that stuff, that's when things go wrong. And that marks the turning point of a cycle, which we're all going to learn about. So, let's do a show of hands. Is economics still relevant? I mean, you have to take this one, you know. But I need to know how you feel about it if I'm going to change how I teach this to you for you. If you won't think economics is relevant, I'm going to teach you a different style to how I teach you if you didn't. If you think it's not relevant, it's my job to convince you that it is. If you think it is relevant, great. Keep going. You don't have to agree with me. So hands up, with a show of hands, and I don't mean like that. Show of hands, please. Is economics still relevant? Yes. Hands up who thinks it's yes. Hands up who thinks no. It's okay to think no. Of course it's okay to think no. Hands up who thinks maybe. Okay, so very good maybe. And then, yeah, not really but, not really relevant. It's nice and stuff, but it's not going to change my life. Not really but, that's good. I think these are nice though. Alright. So, most people think it's relevant. That's good. But the people who don't think it's relevant, are the people who think it's not gonna change your life. I'm not offering sort of tidbits of Buddhist wisdom and stuff. You know? Think like he's not going to tell us stuff like that. But it is relevant, it's genuinely important. And it is going to affect your lives. It's already affected your lives. How does it who personally pay the registration? Yeah, it's affected your lives. How That's weird. Who had somebody else pay for the restriction? Everybody else. Didn't need to put your hand. By subtraction, everyone else paid the reservation. I wonder who's just here for the crack. Just showed up, I had nothing to do, so I thought I'd take an intermediate economics course. That's cool too. Okay. What are the problems with economics? The problem, we failed, absolutely failed to predict the crisis. We failed. There were honorable exceptions, people like David McWilliams, who was ridiculed as an economist in 2008 and 9. He was right. He was talking about this in 2003. So McWilliams gets a pass, Morgan Kelly gets a pass. They failed to predict, most economists across the world failed to predict or marshal a response to the 2007 to whenever this thing starts. We definitely paid too little attention to psychology. Who's taking some psychology modules? We've got any psychologists? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7. Good. You're in for a treat because we've got a great psychology department here. We definitely paid too much attention to maths. We fell in love with maths, and we didn't really look at the real world. We neglected the real empirical side. But we still have great people to listen to. People like Carl Whelan from UCD, Morgan Kelly, if he ever opens his mouth again, Constance Gurdjieff, people like that in the Irish case. They show it can be relevant. Okay? It can be relevant if economists speak truth to power. Somebody once said that the essence of being an intellectual is speaking truth to power. I won't tell you who it was, you can Google it yourselves. But you should understand that that's what I think economics is, and you should understand that that's why I think it's relevant. So thank you very much, and I will see you on Wednesday.